Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Hotline League. I had somebody in my YouTube comments tell me that I was no longer allowed to say these shows are special anymore because when they're all special, none of them are special. And so this is not a special episode of Hotline League. It's just a standard episode of Hotline League. And if you're disappointed by that, blame the person in the YouTube comments.
When's the last time we had a pro player guest on?
Last week.
Who was on last week?
Speaka.
Well, both him and I are. I don't know if we actually constitute as pro players anymore.
Oh yeah, Speaka. Yeah, okay.
I literally said Speaka.
Oh, I don't know why I think it through Discord to me. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I was gonna say it's special because we have pro players on, but then I guess we have one on. But there was quite a run where we didn't have pro players. Those are the ones where you can't say it's special, unless something has actually happened.
Well, it's special because before the start of the stream, people fucking scam trained me to the highest scam train I've ever had on Twitch.
It's still going. You just got to 11.
I know. We just got to level 11, and because NSC 360 dropped 20 subs. But there's no way we beat level 11. It's never happened before.
It's impossible. Literally impossible.
Literally, there's no fucking way, man.
I don't even think it goes to 12.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
All right. So my constant co-host, Mark Zimmerman, is here. Mark, you were just saying that you're hanging in there. Do you need to talk about how things are going for you?
No, just Baldur's Gate 3ing my face off. Just been sleeping a lot less than normal. I already wasn't sleeping a ton, and then this is just taking it to the next level.
Well, I'm glad. How much are you sleeping? Do you know? And how many hours do you have in Baldur's Gate 3? Because Kelby says he has like 35.
Oof, well, I haven't checked. Let me see what Steam says.
When did it drop? Like a week ago now or something?
Yeah, it came out last Thursday, so it's a little over a week now. How do I check hours, dude? I never
on
do
Steam,
this.
like you go to the game and then it should say
playtime 62 hours.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
That is
that's me working Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the last week as well.
That's a gamer.
You have to. Did you just like leave it on at some point in time?
I mean, like sometimes. Well, so my computer, like it's a laptop. It can run a little hot, so I'm pretty good about closing out. I'm sure some of that time is like idle time. But yeah, I think 50 something hours sounds about right.
That is bonkers. All right. Well, our guest this week is none other than Treatz, who's back from Cancun. How's it going? Actually, you were in a very tropical place. You were over on Oahu, right?
Yes, correct. And I got back like a week or so ago, and then was on LCS yesterday. So been busy, but it was fun to have a little Cancun vacation after getting headshot in LCS.
Well, glad to have you here, and I would be remiss if I didn't say I'm very sad and disheartened to hear about the stuff that happened on Maui. I've been to Lahaina many times, and I know it's just like the pictures and stuff like that are horrific. So I just want to say, I've messaged a few people I know over in Hawaii to tell them that my heart is with them. But
yeah, that was terrible for sure.
Yeah, just want to give a shout out to folks who are dealing with that and raise awareness a little bit of it, so folks can go take a look at that if they haven't heard. I think it's worth looking into. But let's talk a little bit about League of Legends as the show continues. But first, Mark, give us your normal rundown of, I guess it's only Baldur's Gate 3 is the only thing you've done, I assume.
Yeah, I don't. We were gonna see TMNT after the last show, I said, but then I ended up getting. I didn't realize there was a 3D theater I had signed up for, and we just bailed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Not doing 3D. So I think at some point this week we'll do that before I fly out to Jersey, either tonight, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But otherwise, yeah, it's just been Baldur's Gating. Actually, also picked up like some different shifts, so she was actually working more this week, which of all the weeks to get a little busier. Fine by me. I love it. I think it's one of the best games I've ever played. I'm like 100%ing it as much as I can, as much as you can 100% this game on a single playthrough.
Are you in Act 2?
I don't think so. The acts are not super well defined. I've done some. I've done the Mountain Pass and the Gith Krish, and I've done I'm doing Grimforge now, which I think is technically still Act 1, but I don't know.
Well, It's good to hear you're having a good time.
It's so fucking good, man. I love it. And there's all this discourse going on right now about it, and it's just like the most toxic thing ever, and it's hilarious.
What is toxic about it?
So basically, one guy tweeted like a month ago about like, oh, don't let this be your new modern standard for RPGs going forward, because like there's a bunch of things that are unique to Larian that made them able to like make this. And then a bunch of people like were mad at, because then one guy said this, he was an indie dev, and he had a pretty good thread about it, but then other AAA devs kind of commented and agreed. And it was more like the thread was about for like indie and smaller and AA studios and not AAA. So then when AAA started chiming in, people were like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like, you have the exact same amount of resources as Larian. Why would you say that you can't do it and all that stuff? And then it died down for a little bit. Then the game came out, and it's like one of the top 10 most game played ever on Steam in terms of concurrent players. It's smashing all these records. It's like fucking massive. And then that brought the whole conversation back up again, because everyone's like, yep, this is what we want out of games, and why can't this be the standard going forward? And like most of the arguments that you hear out of AAA devs are kind of bullshit. They're like, oh, you know, like they have like a bunch of studios and 400 people, and it's like, wait, how big is Blizzard? How big is Activision? These like other places? Like, why can't you do that? And like, oh, they had 6-year dev cycle, and it's like, don't a lot of these games these days have like 5-year dev cycles? Like, what?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, well, you know, it's like they have like institutional knowledge because they made Divinity 1 and Divinity Original Sin 2, and then they made this, and that was all like training up for this moment. And it's like, that's kind of what From Software did with Elden Ring. And it's like, but you made Diablo 1 and 2 and 3, right? So like, why can't Diablo 4 learn on the mistakes of Diablo 3 like all these other studios did? Like, it's interesting. It's just, I think there's a really interesting thing going on, because these like what were niche markets. I have such a philosophy on this. I haven't had anywhere to talk about, so I'm sorry I'm monologuing. But like, there's these niche gaming experiences that at the beginning are not polished enough to garner mass market appeal, which is like Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1. But they start getting like hype around them, which is like Divinity Original Sin and 2. And then there comes a time where it has enough of a success with its niche market that it has the resources to kind of like jump the shark and go super mainstream in terms of how much production value goes into it. Plus, they have the institutional knowledge of like taking off the roughest edges, that these things can then go like omega popular, which is what happened with both of them, despite the fact that they're like really different games. I think if you pitched Dark Souls selling 20 million units or whatever Elden Ring ended up doing, people would tell you you're fucking crazy. And if you told them like a hardcore CRPG was going to sell what's probably going to end up being tens of millions of units, people would call you fucking crazy, but it's going to happen. So like, I think it is actually setting the standard for like how game dev should be a little bit going forward, is like you hit your core audience first and make sure that they're 100% satisfied, and then like the resources come pumping in like a sequel or like the higher market value of the version of the game you're making. It's really cool. It's really interesting.
Treatz, what do you want to monologue on? What's been going on? What are the non-League of Legends things that you've been into lately?
Oh, I mean, apart from Hawaii, I've been playing TFT after season. What else have I been doing?
What rank are you?
LCS. In double up now, I'm Diamond 3, I think.
Oh, nice.
Solo, I think I peaked like D1, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I just started playing a ton in the last couple of weeks, and I'm Gold 3 in climbing, so I didn't get to play a ton this weekend, but I really like this new set. I think it's really
a good set, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sick.
Anything else going on? I mean, I know it's only been a couple of weeks, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's classic off-season. You just stop playing a lot of League, and you're just wondering what to do with your life, so you just go gym and eat food and become a potato.
Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, maybe I should try it out.
Can you do single player games, Treatz? Because I know so many. Like I saw Tracy in the chat saying,
I really can't.
Yeah, I know. There's so many people.
I get
like
so triggered.
Kobe is the perfect example where like you can play like Path of Exile, World of Warcraft, League of Legends, and those are like the 3 games you can play.
WoW and LoL, and that's it. I'm basically the same. I actually can't play single player. I don't know why. I just get really bored, and then I get competitive, and I'm like, I want to play. Is there a rank on this? No. I'm like, why am I playing this?
I have seen a lot of people say that they usually feel that way, but Baldur's Gate 3 like is like pushing through that.
Changed them.
What's that?
I guess it changed them then. Maybe I should try it out.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that bad to try out. It's a lot of people were like, oh, it's turn based. I don't like turn based games, and they play it, and they're like, I guess I like turn based games.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's worth trying, and if not, it's your loss. You know.
Your
He's
luck.
he's too hardcore to enjoy a casual.
problem.
Yeah.
I,
What do you do for fun then, Treatz? If it's not that, if you're saying you go to the gym and what else? What does a Treatz week off look like?
I mean, before I was doing a lot of co-streaming, and that literally takes up the entire day. If I don't do that, I'm lit. Gym, food, sleep, TFT League, just on repeat. Pretty much.
You need maybe like you should take these 5 months that you have and go. I mean, I guess you went traveling, which is pretty good, but I feel like maybe pick up a hobby. You know.
I was thinking of like starting to maybe like make some music or something. I mean, I'm a total noob, but it sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I know some other Diamond, I think, does that as well.
Was it Fudge as well, who had a secret SoundCloud or something?
Oh, Fudge. Oh, yeah, I've heard about that, I think.
DJ Fudge.
Go do that. And then I think DeMonte and Acadian DJ'd at one point in time, and like maybe last year.
I've seen that.
Yeah. So, all right. My whole spiel. I am almost done with Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, which is the most recent Brandon Sanderson novel. It starts off pretty slow, but I really like it. And I really wish that I had looked at the illustrations because I had been listening to it on audio. And then I went and looked at the illustrations, and I was like, God damn, these are so cool. The artist, whose name I will read in a second when I look them up because I need to give them credit, is Aliya Chen. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Aliya. And she just crushed it with the art, and it really does a good job, I think, of helping to make what is a really cool world.
Hey, Travis, you know what inspired him to write this novel?
What?
It's a little movie called Your Name.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes, I am 100% sure. He said this.
Was this in theaters?
Podcast. It was in theaters, yes.
Oh, okay. I wonder why I didn't see it.
Because you are xenophobic.
Do not say stuff like that. That's not true.
Oh, how do I know it's not true? You refuse to watch anime, despite the fact that
I have tried to watch anime. I've actually watched a lot of Inuyasha, for instance. But I've tried. Peter has tried to get me to watch anime multiple times. We've had this conversation a million times on the goddamn show.
Hey, Treatz, do you like anime?
I do not, unfortunately.
Oh, there it is.
What is going on here?
There
man?
it is. That's what I'm talking about.
Treatz, I'm liking you less and less every minute you're on this fucking show. Oh, yeah, I don't play single-player games. I want to play Baldur's Gate 3. I didn't play Elden Ring. Yeah, I don't watch anime. I don't even watch movies, actually.
The peak of their relationship was this or that, and then it's all been downhill since then.
It's downhill.
Thank God I didn't learn this stuff before that, dude.
You would have been writing.
Yeah. So I also was in, so shout out to Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. I was also in Tacoma this past weekend. I was watching some LCS, but also playing some Magic games, and I had a good time there. I won a couple Commander Masters events, and that was fun. And I know last week I said I would not be going to LCS finals potentially last minute because Riot had changed some stuff. Well, they did not really unchange those things, but I just feel like a lot of people people were bummed about potentially me not going, and I was bummed at the idea of missing my first ever LCS finals. So I am just going to go, even though I wish Riot hadn't made these changes. And we're going to potentially lose a lot of money on it. But that's okay, because people were just sub-training my Twitch chat earlier today. So hopefully that helps out a little bit. I really do appreciate it. But to that end, I have not had a chance to figure out where I'm going to hold a either Magic Commander or Draft meetup on Friday night, but I will. So if you, this Friday in Newark, New Jersey, would like to, in or around, I guess I might have to go to the suburbs nearby, would like to play Magic the Gathering with me, please join my Discord and talk in the Magic the Gathering channel. It's discord.gg/Travis. And I will try to, I need to make sure I know how many people want to come do this to make sure it's even worth it, and also to make sure that I have a space that can support it. But I will be trying to do that this Friday. So no promises, but almost certainly we're going to end up doing something if we can find a space. All right. The show is sponsored by Hotline League. Yeah, no live Hotline League because nobody has money anymore. I don't know if you all have noticed this, but it's where we're all poor, and Life Hotline League takes money. So I'm doing something a little bit smaller scale that will hopefully allow people to hang out. Mark can host a Your Name watch party or something. I don't know.
Travis could try stepping outside of his bubble once.
Treatz, are you going to go to LCS finals?
No, I'm going home in 2 days to Sweden, so...
Are like permanently?
I mean, I don't know what the future holds, but for now at least.
For like, when I say permanently, I mean like for the next 4 or 5 months, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you waiting to be kidnapped after or like arrested after you step off the plane?
I should.
After
my performance.
Jesus.
There's a lot of new people in the chat this time. I've been raging at this one kid. I'm feeling kind of bad, but it's so funny in the pleb topics.
Oh, really? Okay. Do you want to do the spiel then?
Yeah, I'll spiel in case people are listening and this is the first time. There's a lot of them. 1 second. Sorry, I have to tell this person to undeafen now.
Just do the spiel. Do the spiel.
If you haven't seen the show before, it's a live call-in show. You go ahead and join up on Discord. That's where we're able to talk with you and pull topics from. I posted in Twitch chat right there. Go ahead and click that, join up. Once you get in there, join the pleb calls or pleb calls 2 or sub calls voice channels so I can pull you into the waiting room should I pick your topic, which that's where you're going to post into the pleb topics or subtopics text channels. Go ahead, write in if you have a question for Treatz, if you have a take on the series that just played or what's going to happen finals weekend or anything. We'll go ahead, if I like it, pull you into that sub calls, into the waiting room, like I said. And then when it's your turn, we'll do a quick audio check, and then you'll be in the actual on-air channel to talk with Treatz and I.
And if you are a sub, and there are a lot of you, especially now that we had that giant scam train going, which I really appreciate, make sure you sync your Discord with Twitch so that you can join the subtopics chat and you can drop some stuff in there. We do try to pull from both. There's no promises that if you're in there, you'll be in, but Mark does check both of those, and the subtopics one moves a little slower. So that is how you do it. We usually do a quick preview of some of the stuff we're going to be talking about. I think it's pretty obvious that what we're going to be talking about this time around is the LCS and recent results. So some really crazy things happened. It seems like Golden Guardians sort of fallen off while we saw NRG surprise. I think we had a take, Mark, that I think somebody might call in, but didn't we have a previous take? Was it last week or the week before where somebody was really high on NRG and we were both very skeptical and then they pushed through? I think maybe I was more skeptical because people call me an NRG hater. And
well, maybe, but then they lost. So that was 2 weeks ago.
True.
So I don't know. Maybe they're frauds.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, dude. They're fucking frauds.
No, on your frauds, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we had that, and then Golden Guardians now head off to fight EU in the monkey cage fight situation. We got
a call
Where's
for that
that
one already.
Do you guys know? Is it in NA?
I know, but I can't leaky deaky yet.
I also know.
I have heard that it's in NA, but I haven't got a confirmation on that.
I think
that's my leak,
that
my
is
personal leak.
A very good premise to go off of, Treatz.
I heard this like half a year ago, so
Yeah.
I guess it was already.
I would be surprised if it wasn't. Okay, so we've got NRG versus TL on Saturday, and Cloud9 versus TBD. I've never heard of them before, but they will be facing off on Sunday. So that's the hype. We're going to talk about this past week's matches, obviously, and preview the finals on this episode. So, and then I guess we can definitely have some conversations. Some people want to come at Treatz because Treatz was a big meanie to a lot of North American people.
You got the anti-co-streaming crowd as well, because not only is Treatz a mean person, he also partakes in co-streaming, which is the devil.
That's what I mean.
The question I have for everyone is like, where were you guys on my stream? Like, how do you guys know that I was toxic if you guys weren't on my stream or watching my YouTube?
Well,
you better sub at least then, and then you can come at me.
There you go.
You have to watch every single thing he said before you can criticize Treatz's points.
So true.
That's a fact.
So true, bestie. All right. Is there anything else that popped up in the last week that I am forgetting about? Sometimes something will happen on like Tuesday and then I will forget it. Twitch chat, let us know if we're forgetting anything. Or Mark, I don't know if you saw anything in the chat that
No, I
popped
think we
off.
got pretty full.
What
There's
did
a lot
they?
of people
What was
coming up
this
tonight.
past week? Did they announce? No, they had already announced coaching. What was this? Oh, most improved.
Most improved. Big Dickerish got it.
Yeah. I think that is it. All right. Well, show's been going for a bit, so let's get in. Oh, top 5 MVP. Well, that's hard to talk about. We'll just talk about MVP whenever it gets announced. Mark is out to go grab the first caller. Thank you to Balkan Gamer, Your First Hooker, Wow Scotch Tape, and Jay Schroed, Stizzle Swick, Fish Sticks for 40 months, D9 Bartlett, D to the Money, Ian7J2, and the Noblet. We got Good Guy Tim in the chat, or in the call. Good Guy Tim, where are you calling from?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida. Was Mark being mean to you in the Pleb Topics chat?
Yeah, I guess I trolled a little bit. I don't know. This is my first time in the Discord, so he said he put me in a room, and then I exited. I don't know what was going on.
So Tim was posted a topic, and then I told him to get in a room, and then he posted another topic. Both of them, I think, were good topics to pull. So I was like,
So
dude, get in the fucking... Yes, and I was like, dude, just get in the fucking room so I can pull you for one of your topics. And then he joins a room, and I move him to the waiting room, and I think he didn't know what was going on, so he left the waiting room and just disconnected again. So I was like, Tim! I was just screaming at him in the
Tim, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that.
And then he was deafened, and then he was fucking deafened. I was like, Tim!
Mark
and Travis, I was in your pre-stream as well on YouTube. Hype.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, for those that don't know, if you don't sub on my YouTube channel, I've been doing every now and then some pre-shows over on the YouTube channel, and then just as a means of letting people know that we're going to do the show and hang out over there. So glad you were over there. Thanks for that's why you are new to the show, because you don't normally watch live, because I pulled you over from YouTube.
That's literally exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
The plan is working. My strategy is working.
Exactly. Yeah, dude. I was telling you, you just got to scream on YouTube a little bit. I mean, I just don't watch Twitch that often. I didn't know you were live. Just literally saw you on YouTube, and now I'm here. So pretty hype.
Well, Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific normally. Next week will not be that because we'll be traveling back. But normally Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. All right, Tim, what's your take?
Okay, yeah. So the take is that I've just been really impressed by FBI, this split in general. A little bit down on him after the last few seasons. But obviously he was really good originally on Golden Guardians. But really this split, he's been proven like the natural talent that he's had. If you guys remember, like when Double If was playing him in playoffs, he was really complimentary. Just like the first time, just about like the overall skill of this guy. And he was like, dude, this guy is fucking crazy. And then he was kind of in sleeper mode for like 2 seasons. But this season, especially in playoffs, it's just been like you can really see that he's performing compared to other people.
So FBI is definitely a person where was it last episode or the one before where I was like, does anyone have an opinion? Oh yeah, I think it was Spica, where I asked what's his opinion on their bot lane, and he was like, I actually have no opinion whatsoever. And it's just sort of a weird situation where people did not even really consider Energy's bot lane at all over the course of this split. But Good Guy Tim is here to help make sure people know that FBI is doing well.
Yeah, there's he went on an interesting career arc where he got really hyped up after beating Double If that one time, and then it didn't really feel like there was that many great other AD carries in the league, and kind of took the crown because Double If retired, and people just kind of assumed he was. And then he was able to win on 100 Thieves, which kind of helped cement that. But then afterwards, people turn on him quite a bit, and with Berserker joining and stuff, people have not been super hyped on him. So at this point, I think most people would say he's like, I don't know where people put him, because I see people say he's not good, which makes me think that they would put him in the bottom half of the league. I don't know what Twitch chat. If you want to, you should do a Twitch poll. Is FBI top half or bottom half league AD carry?
All right, I'll do it.
I would say it's legit, like mid, like 5th.
You can't click mid. Everyone will click mid if you say mid. You have to pick. There's 5 in the top and 5 in the bottom.
Then he's top 5 because I'll put him 5th.
All right, well, the poll is up in the Twitch chat. Everybody can go vote. It's right above the chat. Go look at that. But all right, Mark, continue your thought. Where do you think? Well, I guess we should wait a little bit to let this before you sway
You don't
it.
want me to
voted.
sway it with facts and logic.
Yes, exactly. We've got votes coming in, and I'll say right now it is 75% top half, 25% bottom half. So, Good Guy Tim maybe already swaying the results a little bit. I think we're at about where we're going to be. It's about 70-30 or so, but. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe I have the wrong read in that there's just some loud FBI haters, considering that it's mostly top half. I think that's fair. I think he's on his good days, top 3; on his bad days, 5th, 6th, somewhere around there. So like, I feel like he usually doesn't sprint it. Like he's usually not like actually blowing the game plan up. I think there's times where he does dumb things in like the mid to late game, or might have like a laning oopsie or two. But I feel like he's never fully out of the game, like on 1.5 items versus a 3-item tank, which I think is underrated skill set a little bit for AD carries. But I also understand why people get really mad, because he does do that thing too sometimes where he has that kind of like late game oopsie. This split, yeah, Berserker, Yawn, Stixay. I don't think Prince or Doublelift really played better than him. I think Doublelift, it's debatable, but he was on such a bad team that it didn't look any better. Tactical, of course, but again, playing with an absolute anchor around his
support. Yeah,
yeah.
Man, if not for that guy, he would be top 3 for sure.
Yeah, unlucky. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of good AD carries in the LCS this year that all like I think we're fine to good. So I don't know if that's what the community thinks. Then maybe he's not underrated and he is appropriately rated. I don't know. What's your opinion, Treatz?
I think like we won 2-0 against NRG, and I kind of rate bot lanes and like the pressure they put on us in the bot lane. I guess I think FPI's like mid to late game is completely fine. I think he doesn't do anything that stands out like positive or negative. He kind of just does his job. I think he's a bit like Jan, where if he's not expected to carry, sometimes he just pops off, and when he's expected to carry, he sometimes just flops. So I think he's not super reliable, but he kind of has like a medium level, which is pretty decent, I would say. But I think in lane, him and Ignar are kind of low pressure. I don't feel like they're playing to win lane that often. Ignar is kind of a map winning player, and he's kind of chilling. So I would definitely put him like around the mid. I mean, obviously they're top 3, so they're doing stuff well in mid game, but I think in lane specifically, they're not that like dangerous.
Mark, do we have any takes about tactical? Because I kind of want to ask Treatz a little bit while we're on.
No, we don't. No one's calling it about tactical.
All
Surprisingly.
right. Yeah. So that's
spice.
Well, that's what I wanted to get into too, because Tactical's arc was kind of like he was hyped up when he replaced Peter. Then, especially when he went to TSM, the stonks tanked, which seems to be what happened to a lot of players, like Speak and others. And then this split, I feel like he got a lot of attention. So I'm kind of curious what you think, Treatz. I mean, I feel like what's interesting is when he was with TL, everyone's like, oh man, that's how good Core JJ is. He's just able to make even Tactical look good. And then when he was on TSM, people are like, see, that's how good Core JJ is. He's just able to make Tactical look good. And then Tactical is good this split, and people are like, well, Tactical is pretty good. I don't know about that support, but that Tactical is pretty good. So I'm curious what you think of Tactical and your time playing with him as his support.
I mean, I think bot lane is obviously a two-way street. I think it's very rare that one player is like insane and the other one is kind of trash in bot lane, I would say. I think usually it's pretty close, like in terms of ranking. Maybe someone is like 2 or 3 ranks up or down from their lane partner. But I think Tactical is really good. Obviously, that's why I came to Immortals. It was mainly because of him. I think he just requires someone that kind of understands the way he functions as a human being. I think me and Core are the best at that, so which is why I think he has the best results with me and him.
How does Tactical function as a human being?
You have to kind of think the way of the Tactical, you know. He's a very Pepega person, so you have to speak his language, you know, to get through them.
Understood. Okay, and it's you and Core JJ that speak that language.
We speak fluent Pepega, yes.
Okay, I see. I understand. Or is that because you're also a Pepega person?
I mean, you have to kind of go down to their level, you know,
it takes one
meet
to
them
know
halfway.
One. I see.
Exactly. It takes 2 to tango, and I know how to tango with Eddie. So
gotcha.
Some people are bilingual, Travis. They can speak Pepega, but they can also speak a normal functional human as well.
Okay.
Exactly.
I understand. All right. Tim, it sounds like everyone here is like, oh, nah, dude. Everybody likes FBI. So I feel like your take that FBI was underrated is not there.
Well, to be fair, his take was FBI has redeemed himself in the public eye with his recent carry performances. That was the prompt in Discord.
That he has, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and like something I want to point out is just like when they get to playoffs, like the guy clutches up. You know what I'm saying? Like before with double lift, like nobody thought they were gonna go. I think they got all the way to finals in that. And then the team that he's on right now, NRG, formerly CLG, like they always kind of struggled in playoffs. And now this guy's kind of popping off. Like if they win this next weekend, they're just going straight to finals. It's kind of crazy. So I mean, I'm just saying, you know, you got FBI on your team, you got a good team. Like you go deep, you might make it finals. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Was that FBI when he was playing with Huhi on Golden Guardians?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that was when
yeah.
I played with Doublift, and they fucking stomped us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good then, so I think that was probably his peak.
Oh, I totally forgot that was you supporting that.
Yeah, that was
that
2020.
team.
That's actually
Yeah, I
so
forgot you were part of
crazy.
that too. That's crazy.
Yeah, we got crushed by them, like first round, I think, of playoffs, and then
It was
we
heartbreaking.
stomped
but you guys
Dignitas,
came
and
back
then I got
strong.
subbed out.
Oh yeah, that was sad.
Wild.
Oh,
All right.
goat.
Well, either way, thank you so much, Tim, for the call. Anything you want to shout out before we go on to the next caller?
Yeah, shout out you guys for having me on. I mean, first time putting in anything, get on first caller, kind of OP. And shout out Treatz. I saw you. That was that first straight split you played on TSM. That was the first time I saw you. And you went to EU, kind of shut out. You got a lot of respect there. Came back, rough split this split. I believe you got it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim. Have a good one.
All right, you guys too. Bye.
Bye.
All right.
I mean, so like, I guess I think we have a fragmented community because like I went to go check the Reddit thread again from the series that NRG just lost against C9, and FBI is getting flamed.
But he's just the hot guy to flame. Like, I'm the hot guy from IMT to flame. He's like the EG guy to flame. Or the, what's it called, NRG guy to flame, I mean.
I mean, I know everybody's been saying this stuff about Reddit for a while, but dude, I feel like in the past 6 months or so, it's gotten really fucking negative over there.
I agree, yeah.
I'm not surprised. Like I just stopped posting there several months ago because I don't know what has happened, but it has gotten really fucking lame. All right, Mark, you want to go grab the next caller?
Yeah.
I noticed that doing co-streaming as well. Like Reddit and Twitter are always negative platforms, and YouTube and Twitch are like very positive platforms, I feel like.
Yeah. No, I agree with the Twitter stuff too. I post a lot less there now because and I just feel like I have to block people, and then whenever I block them, they're like, yeah, look at this guy.
Mute this OP.
I told him he fucking sucks, and he blocked me. What a coward. And I'm like, yeah, because I don't want to deal with that shit. All right. We got Mikey back here. Mikey, where are you calling from?
Still the middle of nowhere, Utah, Travis.
Okay.
But soon.
You keep saying soon you're not going to be in the middle of nowhere, but you're not coming through on that.
I will.
Okay.
I'm almost starting work soon. So
Very
figure
good.
that out.
Well, what do you want to talk about on the show?
I have a question for Treatz.
All right. Go for it.
First of all, I just want to say I'm a really big fan of Tactical. And my question, would you say it's fair for co-streamers to be
Oh, you're lagging a bit,
You're
Mikey.
lagging a
level
lot,
of
yeah.
play
I
in
can,
Yeah, go
LCS.
see if you can just slam it all out right now.
We have evidence to suggest that a co-streamer trying to do better in LCS would end 10th place. Not naming names or pointing fingers. Just want your honest opinion.
I'll reread this since
Yeah.
that was
Can you
Reread the take.
So this is what he posted in subtopics. Is it fair for co-streamers to be dumping on the level of play in LCS when we have evidence that any co-streamer... Oh my god.
No, I just muted him. It's fine. Go.
No, you muted him for you. You didn't server mute him.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Is it fair for co-streamers to be dumping on the level of play in the LCS when we have evidence that any co-streamer trying to do better in LCS would end 10th place, not naming names?
I mean, that's the thing of like, can sports fans criticize teams that are like underperforming? Like, can you For example, if you're watching football and a football player is underperforming, if you're a fan, can you flame him? Obviously, yes. Obviously, I can flame people. I should expect to get flamed back if I don't perform. It's that simple.
I will attempt to become Michael Don here and debate you.
Okay.
This is not my own personal opinion on this, but there could be an argument made that you're not just a fan. You're not just Joe Schmo slamming some Coors Light, throwing his beer cans at the TV when Tony Romo fumbles the ball or something like that. I know Tony Romo's retired and does commentary now, actually, which is a different point. But you are a pro player. You have authority. You have, street cred. So when you start dogging on all these people, you're not just another guy yelling at the TV. You're the guy that everyone's like, yeah, I agree. Treatz is right. These guys are fucking dog shit, and I hate them.
I mean, it's just literally become a narrative that I dog on everyone. I'm just a very straightforward person, so whatever I feel, I will say. Sometimes if someone ints, I'll call it out. If they do a good play, I'll call it out. I'm pretty fair, I would say. But as I said before the show started, if everyone actually wants to get an accurate narrative, they can watch my own co-stream and make their own opinion instead of just following the Reddit narrative. So that's pretty much my take on it.
Do you? How annoying was it over the course of the split, or how much did you get exposed to the people being like, oh, on your co-stream you said this, but then you weren't able to put up the results, blah blah blah. Like, how much of that did you deal with over the course of the split?
I mean, I saw it a lot, but I don't care. I mean, it was obvious that it would happen because every time you put yourself out there and you do content for whatever it might be, you get shit on if if it doesn't land well, so to say. So I saw it a lot, but it doesn't affect me whatsoever.
Michael, I know you're back. I don't know if you want to try again. You can unmute and see if there's anything you would add. Oh, it's not looking good. The light is up. All right. We're going to assume that the lag is still happening. Well, okay, so I will continue to ask questions on behalf of Mikey here. You were on TSM. You had mixed sentiment from your performance there. Then you went back to Europe. You got a lot of love. Then you come back to North America, and again, people here are like, "Oh, Treatz is maybe not that good."
Yeah.
Why do you think it is that, obviously the results and performance you have in EU seems to be a lot better than what's happening over in North America?
Actually, a good question. I mean, obviously team performance comes down to a lot of things. As an individual player, you can only account for your own performance. I mean, I can only talk about my own performance, but it's a team game and there's multiple players on a team. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it works out. That's just kind of the nature of the sport. I mean, not that I played perfectly by any means, but my main goal coming here was kind of to play good with the tactical and do a good job in the bot lane. I feel like we accomplished that. Obviously didn't want to go 10th place, but it is what it is.
The other thing you're forgetting is that North America is a harder region to play in.
I mean, that is also true, for sure.
We're just way better, and, it's tough.
What are the chances that Golden Guardians beats whatever EU team limps out of their event?
I mean, we said it on broadcast. If it's Mad Lions, then they'll probably win.
We have a topic about this, Travis. It's supposed to be a co-stream related topic. I don't know how we got onto Treatz's individual.
We were talking about EU versus NA. You said NA stronger or harder region, so that's why.
You started asking. You asked why he does better in EU than NA. You didn't say why did co-streaming make you bad at League of Legends. You were great before co-streaming.
It's co-stream that ruined me.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I mean, I did have one split break, so I don't think that helps. I didn't scrim for half a year. But yeah. Fair enough.
You're one of our first co-streamers we've had on the show. What responsibility do you think co-streamers have to the products that they are co-streaming? If any responsibility.
I mean, I think the responsibility is, I guess, not starting a hate train on a specific player that's very unwarranted. I think criticizing bad play and obviously saying good plays is important, but I mean, it's I'm watching as a fan with my homies. I can say that guy ran it down or that guy fucking inted. That's just how it is. I'm not talking as a know-it-all person. I'm just watching as a fan like everyone else, and that's how most people would talk with their friends on the co-streams, you know? Like, wow, Treatz really ran it down there. Like, haha. Like, that's how people chat.
I think
Like-
there's the individual, which is, you don't want to start hate train on a player, but then there's also, and this isn't specific to you, this is, a lot of other co-streams have had the problem of implying that the region that they're watching is dog shit, and that they're getting upset. These guys are so bad. This is just what NA does. They always fuck this part up. They always fuck that part up. These guys are terrible. And I think one of the things that Travis was more alluding to, I think, was by disparaging, as some people might put it, the product that you're covering, you are inadvertently causing less people to be interested in the thing that you're covering as well. And it's a death spiral potentially.
Yeah, I mean, that I definitely could see. I feel like the thing is also when you watch a lot of League in general and you see the difference in quality of regions, it's hard to like not account for that when you're watching. Obviously, you don't need to say like that LCS is worse than LCK, everyone knows that, but sometimes it's very apparent and it's kind of funny, when that happens. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah. No, I think I can understand how it's difficult when you're like stay up late or wake up early to watch LCK, and then you roll into the LCS and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that was an interesting play or whatever. But I do think there's been a lot of conversation. Interestingly enough, I feel like there's been less this year. I don't know, Mark, if you think I'm crazy, but maybe it's just because Peter's not co-streaming. That of negative, like people being worried about co-streaming. Maybe it's both Peter and Treatz. We've lost two of the biggest critics.
It's a narrative now. People are just seeing it from that light, even though it's not always true. Like I think people have clips in mind where they're like, "Oh, co-streamers are so toxic," but then, like, how many people are actually watching those streams is very low, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think there was a point where it was really bad during the first year that it came out, and there was a lot of things, and also just like there was maybe more also criticism of elements of the broadcast as well, which I think really cooled off. I feel like that was the other thing. It wasn't always just like, oh, this play sucks, this player did this dumb thing. It would be things that casters were saying or the production itself or whatever that I think was also contributing to that narrative that co-streamers are like hate watching or whatever. And I think to Treatz's point, like that doesn't happen anymore. And I don't think people are quite as negative on the level of play. I think it is much more calling out like that was a bad play versus like fucking dog shit. NA always does this.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. I mean, I think I definitely become more negative when I co-stream for a long time in a row because you just watch so much League that eventually you become like numb to the average plays and you kind of see the outlier plays and kind of see them for what they are instead of glancing over them being like, yeah, it was a bad play happens, So I think from that perspective, it's definitely true.
All right, Michael, I don't know if your internet is back, but I'd love to give you a chance to say something, maybe a shout out or anything here at the end. The mic is lit up.
He's talking, Travis. You're just not hearing it. Yeah.
Oh.
Is this a you problem, Travis?
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to still. Go ahead. Yeah, now you're good.
How am I sounding? Do I sound
you're good.
okay?
You're good now. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Can I quick ask Treatz if he... have you ever seen Tactical play Minesweeper?
I have. He plays a lot, yeah.
Isn't he so good at it? It's insane.
I haven't seen if he's good or bad, but I've seen him play it a lot for sure.
Okay, yeah, that's all I wanted to ask.
Very good. Anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, so I'll shout out Energy de Monte like always. I want to shout out Treatz's YouTube channel because I actually do enjoy your YouTube content. It's pretty good. I think you're fair with your criticism, honestly. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'll take those.
Very good. Hey, thanks so much for the call, and we'll catch you next time.
Yep, see ya.
All right, we're going to take a quick break right now to talk about Alienware. Really appreciate Alienware's support of this content. They've been a fantastic partner, and I've really enjoyed working with them. I saw people in the chat earlier before the start of the show asking me about the X16 versus the M18, and I love when folks are asking those types of questions. Shout out to Toast, by the way, who gave a great answer at the end of the interview that I did with him about Alienware and X16. I loved to see it. But also, I want to promote the new Aurora R16. Go take a look at this. If you're familiar with Alienware product, it's going to look a little different. They're trying something a bit different with the look of this thing, and I think it's really cool. I mean, I love the Auroras that I have right now, but this thing it's just, I don't know, it looks nice on a desk, and I think a lot of you will really like it. It's a bit of a smaller housing, and it's a little bit more approachable if you are looking for something that is on the more affordable side. I mean, obviously, there's great deals all the time with Alienware products, but again, they make such cool stuff at a variety of different price points. And so for those of you who might have looked in the past and felt like something was outside of your budget, maybe you're going to go someplace else, I would encourage you to go take a look at the Aurora R16. You can do so at alienware.com/Travis. And there's a link in the YouTube description if you'd like to do that. Whenever you purchase from Alienware, it is very, 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 very helpful if you go through that link to do so that they can track it and they know that it's something that somebody who, was maybe perhaps influenced by this show or my content, that would be super swell. And then I've also seen a lot of people just tweeting at me. I know I owe somebody, Captain Swoos, who I saw sub earlier, has sent me a Discord message letting me know that they bought one as well. So I really appreciate that feedback loop. It's really helpful. So yeah, and I see people in the chat already talking about their monitors and how much they love them. So thank you to everybody who loves the Alienware stuff, lets us know about it, and goes and purchases. And really appreciate Alienware support of the show. All right, Mark, you want to go grab the next caller?
That's
All right.
quick.
Hello, Treatz. What were you saying?
Hello. I just said that was quick. He left before you even said anything.
Yeah. We're close to, I think, 500 episodes now or something like that. I forget. Some insane amount. Not 500. 400? 300? Something like that. 300.
Jesus.
And so he's there. Marxist? Is that it? Is that what it is?
It's Marxist, yeah.
Marxist, but in a different way of spelling it than perhaps the way people are thinking.
Yeah, my last name's Marx, so
Gotcha.
that was clever.
Yeah. Sorry for that name. It's not a great one. All right.
Honestly, great name.
I don't know about that. Can you get a little closer to your mic, or maybe turn it up a bit? Where I've got you at 200%, but you're a little quiet.
Yeah, Mark warned me, but this is all I got for you, man.
No, that's actually much better. Thank you.
That's perfect.
Where are you calling
All right.
from?
I'm calling from North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, but small shout out to San Jose, California, because that's where I'm from originally, and I know Kobe's from there.
Nice. Well, what do you want to talk about on the show?
So my take was that it was a little more inflammatory than I might word it here, but basically it was.
You have to word. No. You say what you wrote.
All right. I think what I said was that the series against TL proved that Unforgiven was so overrated during the split, and he doesn't really do anything. And a little bit to back it up, I think that his laning stats are subpar. He's negative in CS, gold, and XP at 15 minutes just across the board. And that includes his 30-plus CS game against TSM, which pulls it up. And his damage per minute numbers are actually lower than both Jan and FBI, who I think probably both deserved it more. A little bit of a caveat, I'm a TL fan, so I was kind of preying on his downfall a little bit in the EG series, and I was also hoping Jan would get the third team, but I think he has worse laning stats than Doublelift, than Prince, than Wild Turtle, than Jan and FBI, and he has worse damage per minute than Jan and FBI. I think he just kind of does nothing, and then he just kind of, if his team gets him the opening, he wins, and he will never find the opening himself.
So we should say that we had a FBI hype call, and we like to keep things balanced. So now we have another ADC sucks call.
Well, and we have to lean to the fact that Treatz is a toxic co-streamer and let him slam dunk on some idiots. So here you go.
Treatz, what do you think of Unforgiven?
My Swedish brethren, Unforgiven. I think he's a very good carry when he's set up. I think, kind of like you said, Marxist, I don't think he's the best player at finding windows himself. But I don't think that's an Unforgiven specific problem. I think that's kind of an AD carry problem in general. I don't think that's something that, for example, Doublelift does really great either. So
you're like, they really need supports to help them in their dumb brains.
Yes, so in my head, if an AD carry is struggling in lane, it's the support's fault. It's not the AD carries. That's
So
my take.
I feel like Ayla didn't get a lot of like flack though. I know that like they got flack as a duo for not doing anything in lane, and that's why his laning numbers are so bad. But I think that like Ayla looked largely pretty good, and Ayla got Unforgiven solo kills in lane at times as well. I can't pull any off my mind. I just pulled up the quick laning statistics so I would be able to see them for this. But
I mean, he roamed a lot, to be fair. Like JoJo's jungle and support proximity, both from his team and his enemy's team, is pretty high.
yeah, I guess it's really hard when you have the magnifying glass of JoJo Pion just like taking all like looks away from everyone else. But I think that part of that is people kind of didn't give Unforgiven enough flack for not doing enough if his team needed him to. Other than like one or two games where he was the main carry in the regular season, I felt like he was largely invisible. Like even in the playoff series that they won, it was like revenge, and I really thought that that would be the time for him to step up. And I know that like it's a regular season award, so my take of like, oh, this playoff series proved that he didn't deserve a regular season award is kind of like cap. But like the statistics I pulled up were regular season. He's negative in all the like laning statistics, and he has lower DPM than the two people that could win it above him, which is FBI and Jan.
I think his first playoff series definitely wasn't. I was on the cast on the desk for that one, and I remember. I told him after the series, I said you have to step up for the next series because I don't think he played that good, and he agreed. So I think in playoffs specifically, don't think he performed the way he wanted. I think in regular season he did do pretty well when he was set up for success, but like I said, sometimes I think EG just fumbled early game. And if bot lane fumbles, it's usually the support's fault. So I think a lot of it is on that. But I don't think he's the guy who will find opportunities himself. I think that's kind of like a berserker thing, or like a Prince thing, where they look for. I think honestly, tactical too is someone that looks for a lot of like solo opportunities on the side
as a
and stuff like
TL fan,
that.
tactical certainly looks for solo opportunities.
He will jump in.
I think it is fair to say though that there's a lot of AD carries. Maybe they're the more new age kind of guys. I know not like Unforgiven's that old, but like
Jan's definitely looking too. Yeah.
I was gonna say Jan does this too. I mean that fucking like flash in on Ashe. Was like, and then
he got hate for that, but I think that like the team needed something to happen, and he was trying to make something happen. Like, was it really dumb and looked really bad? Yeah, but like I get why. Sorry,
you good. He also tweeted out afterwards that he'd do it again at Worlds because I think I even said it on the cast that he was trying to get the reset for Ari, and that's what he was trying to do. So
yeah, I respect that, honestly.
Those plays are fine. Yeah, like rather go for them and then have them fail than like not look for windows for sure.
Especially when for years TL was the do nothing and lose team. I would much rather see them do something and lose than do nothing and lose.
Yeah, I feel like Unforgiven is just. I mean, we've talked a lot about narrative trajectories for a lot of these players tonight, but I feel like it was interesting to see what was a lot of hype in the beginning sort of just fall off, even as like JoJo had a resurge in terms of people being excited about him and all that stuff. So I know there's a lot of speculation about what's going to happen to EG next year, especially their roster, but I'm very curious to see where Unforgiven ends up. I just expect everything's going to blow up on the off season. So, I don't know. I mean, Treatz, he was very well regarded in Europe, right?
I mean, he had a lot of pressure for sure. Yeah, he got first on MAD, but then he got kicked the split after, right? When they did some changes.
I think that's
which was a bit strange. Yeah. But I do think he played really good in EU. I think he's good in NA as well. But AD carry is kind of a team gap role. So if your team is not performing, it's kind of hard to perform yourself.
Well, let me ask you: Did you put him at? Would you have put him at third team? I think Tactical had the vote for your team, but would you have put him at third team?
I don't think so. I'd probably put him fourth or fifth if I had to say.
Behind FBI or Jan or someone?
Oh, that's a hard one. I would probably go like Berserker, Stixay, and then it's kind of like a mix. I would put
Doublelift probably for third, right?
I would put like Tactical, Doublelift, Unforgiven, like those three around there, I would say.
Peter had like unironically good laning statistics.
Oh yeah, no, he was the third best ADC. Marxist,
low DPM, but anything
you want to shout out before we go on to the next caller?
Yeah, just wanted to say I've been a fan of TL since they were cursed, so I was a fan of Mark when he joined them. So I've been following him for a while, and I've been following Hotline League for a while. And then just a shout out to my friend Dustin and my friend Leon, because they're the only people who might ever watch this, because none of my other friends follow Pro League. So
We'll
thanks
get the
for
rest of
having
them
me
to
on,
watch it. All right, we need
Yeah.
all that
Try.
we can get.
Promote it.
I'm friends with a lot of traditional sports guys, so it could, in theory, pull in new fans, but a lot of guys just don't want
Bring people to New Jersey. You gonna go to New Jersey this weekend?
I am not. I got a lot going on, but
All right. Well, don't we all?
Yeah, it's really funny. I moved to Charlotte like right after the finals were in North Carolina, so
Unlucky. All right. Well, thanks so much for the call, and we'll catch you next time.
it's that as well. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Please.
All right. On to the next caller.
A lot of AD carry takes here today. There's a lot of AD carry haters around here.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess AD carries just like tend to bring in a lot of attention in ways that maybe supports don't. And so you show up here and everybody's like, now's my chance to fucking dug on some ADCs. Thank you to Alex Throws Games, The Real King Sonic, iNuber, Prophet Guru, who gifted a sub to Treatz. I'm shocked Treatz was not already subbed. Bill Gunn, Shade Rubino, and Ithic. Thank you everybody for the subs. We have... Oh, go ahead, Mark.
This topic I meant to pull during the co-streaming one, but I forgot. So it's kind of a circling back thing, but whatever.
That's fine. Caller, what is your name and where are you from?
Yeah, my name is Dave, and I'm in Wilmington, Delaware.
Wilmington, Delaware. What do you want to talk about on the show?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that co-streaming negativity and the viewing problem that League and probably other esports too has in general is that what a player sees and what they have based on vision in game versus what a spectator sees with having global vision causes like a drastically different viewing experience. And a casual viewer, especially who has perfect global vision, is going to see things, hear things from co-streamers, and see stuff as really obvious without ever really, not necessarily never knowing, but not having as good of experience of knowing, okay, well, what does the game actually look like when you're in a player's vision perspective, and what you see on words versus not, and all those different parts of things.
So what if we gave co-streamers only rights to co-stream the Fog of War up for one team of their choosing?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's necessarily like the solve is to say you have to view it as a player experience. I think it creates a viewership complexity, I guess what I'll call it, but a problem for esports in general, but focus on League for this, obviously, where you have to come up with some way that you can present this in a better format to the viewer, especially casual viewer. And I think that there's a lot more toggling that could be done back and forth between the global vision and the player-based vision that could better explain plays and better give context to what a player is seeing and why they made certain decisions that would, I think, reduce some of the negativity and make things a little more understandable to especially casual viewers.
I mean, I agree with your take. First of all, I think it's true, but I think that's kind of the case for every sport, isn't it? Like, say for football, you see the entire field and you will still flame the people who are misplaying. You'd still, like, comment on plays with perfect information as a spectator, just as you would in League. I think it's kind of hard. I think the point of spectators doing a better job is fair. I think sometimes you could show like a POV clip, for example, where you see someone outplay a gank with their vision or like with their game understanding better. But I do agree that that's definitely if you're only spectating League and you're not playing yourself and you don't really understand, then it's a very hard nuance to get across.
Okay, but there's definitely a big difference between the information you're missing on a football field than rather than the information you're missing on Summer's Rift, right?
I think it's an interesting discussion point depending on what sport you're talking about, because like American football, you have a big fucking helmet on. Those guys are all like 6'6" and 300 pounds, like no joke. And you're like probably a 5'8", 5'10" running back who's like 224 or 240, 220, and you're supposed to like find the opening and like know where the linebacker. Like, it's actually pretty fucking hard to see on a football field when you're running, if anyone's ever tried it. Similarly, in basketball, from that view, It looks like there's a lot of court space. You go out of bird's eye and you get ground level, dude. Those fucking guys are 7 feet tall, and then their wingspans are actually like 7'8". Like you're like, oh yeah, let me just get around this guy, and you're like, how the fuck do I get around this guy? And so to Treatz's point, I do think it's true that like sports also have like a very different feel when you're actually playing them than when you're watching.
We have good mode on, right? Like all the time. I think the argument maybe is that in League you actually can toggle the God mode to like in-game. You can't really do that in football. I mean, you could have like a POV cam or something, but I don't think that would kind of fly. So I guess that's the other side of it.
Yeah, the other thing too is like whenever they strap a GoPro on someone, the actual field, like the field of vision that you're getting, is way bigger. Those things are like fisheye lenses blown out. Yeah. When you actually play and you have fucking blinders on from like the helmet or something, you know, it's different.
Treatz, how much
like Pro View either? So
how much T Sports do you watch?
T Sports?
Yeah, traditional sports.
Oh, then basically zero right now. I used to watch a lot of soccer when I was playing myself.
So I don't watch any. So I would ask you both: how much criticism or critique is there out there in coverage or commentary of like, oh, how did they not see this, or why did this person throw the ball in this direction, or something like that? Is this? I'm curious how comparable like we talked about the conversation around it, but how much criticism is it compared to
there's
League?
So much backseating for sure.
Yeah, dude.
I know there's backseating.
Throw the ball.
Like,
what?
Yeah,
that guy was open. Should have passed it to him. You know, like there's all that shit all the time, and like
I think it's honestly less in esports, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. I think
it's hard to see fog stuff. You know, like the same way it's like, why didn't you just fucking pass the ball to that guy, you know, or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's true that there's maybe a little less. I also think in League, the vision things I think matter more because I do agree a little bit with what you're trying to. I think some of what you're saying, Travis, where it's like League is inherently more a vision based game. Like you can't sneak. I guess you can do like a quarterback sneak or like some misdirection plays. I'm mostly thinking about football. Like you can do some misdirection stuff, but like a huge part of Pro League of Legends is like hiding the play that you're going for from your opponent.
Yeah,
like,
you're not able to like go sneak and stick GoPros in the ground on the field and be like, okay, now we got vision of this area of the.
Well, it's like how many ganks work through a ward? Like close to none of them. How many like Baron rushes work if like the enemy team knew you were doing it the whole time? Like most of these like riskier plays or like a lot of the action only happens off vision, and it's so like. I do agree that like vision is more important, but I don't think that it changes like the viewer experience like a ton because most people just like don't even play the sports that they watch, or at least like not on a level that's comparable.
Whereas I think that's true as well. I think honestly, a lot of people only watch League nowadays. I don't think there's. I think the player base has gone down in comparison to the amount of people watching.
What was that?
That's my cat feeder.
Your cat is making terrible noise.
It says a cat feeder.
And to be clear with people, because I saw people having weird mental spasms in the Twitch chat earlier, but I'm not saying, oh, wow, is there any criticism in traditional sports? It's more my trying to understand, like, when we're talking about vision, when we're talking about, like, I understand people are like, oh, how could you miss
you fumbled,
catch
you
or something.
Fucking dipshit.
Yeah.
You missed that. You wide open, you missed.
I'm not talking about fumble and stuff like that. It's more just like, wow, how did you not see that player coming up behind you or something? You know, like the more comparable things to where people are like, oh, how did you not know that gank was going to occur? Or why were you playing so forward? Or like that type of stuff that we hear a lot in League of Legends criticism.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we know the jungler's pathing up. No way, top lane still dies. I mean, that type of thing.
Yeah. Now I think if I could watch traditional sports and see people ward in certain areas of the court or the field, that I would be far more interested. That sounds very fun. All right. Thank you to our caller. Anything you want to shout out?
Good take, Dave.
Yeah, thanks. Definitely Alienware. And you guys, first time getting on the show, but been listening for years. So, keep doing what you're doing. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thanks so much. We'll catch you next time. All right. Off Mark goes. Thank you to, I think I got, oh my God, Joseph Joestar, but in case I didn't, thank you. And Flashy Irish, thank you for the Prime. You can sub to the channel if you have a Prime sub. You can move your cursor over the screen. There's a purple crown. Click it. It'll tell you if you got a Prime sub available. We got Fist here. Fist, where are you calling from?
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm calling from Des Moines, Iowa.
Iowa. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
I wanted to talk about how, and I know Mark said earlier to come in hot, so I'll come in hot. He's the inspiration for this take.
Oh, you're trying to pass some of it off on him, I see.
Yeah,
Take
his
full
this or
responsibility.
that. And with Treatz, his this or that was what spawned my take. After watching that TL series against Golden Guardians, where he somehow thought that Summit was the MVP after watching that Ornn game, I'll never understand. But I think Summit's a liability, and especially when it comes to refocusing the thought process towards how he's going to perform at Worlds versus how he performs domestically is going to be a big problem. He's not flexible. He can't adjust the team's play style. We all know his positioning has always been an issue. We always know that his champion pool has been an issue. I mean, I know he plays Gwen now, the memes aside from before, if you guys remember what he said about Gwen in the past. But he can't play tanks. He can't play weak side very often. He gets caught a lot. And he likes to ego check, which works in NA, but it's not going to work internationally at all. And I'm really worried because the rest of Team Liquid has gelled and played really, really well. And I think they're coming together as a team at the right time. And I think that Summit is going to get ego checked and bodied at Worlds.
All right. So when you said in the playoff series, do you want to elaborate a little bit on that? Because you were saying you'll never understand.
Yeah, so I mean, like we were fortunate in that we have 4 series to judge them on, so far this playoff. So we have like a big body of evidence, and I will understand if Mark's point of view is that like he played very well against Dokla. I mean, he should. Dokla was probably the worst performing top laner in the league this split, or there's an argument to be made there for laning statistics. And then he bodied Revenge. Yeah, he ate Revenge's lunch money. That happened. But they lost that series against NRG, and he was laning against Dokla, who again was considered the worst laner and top laner in the league for that series, and they lost that series. So obviously he was supposed to be the big gap there, and he couldn't translate that into a win. And in this last series, I'm sorry, I don't know what everybody else was watching, but I think Licorice really showed Summit up a lot in this last series. Summit had one good game, Game 5 in the Gwen, and I think in the other 4 games, Licorice was absolutely the better performing top laner. So yeah, I don't know what that bodes well for how that bodes for Summit in internationally, but I think Licorice was his best competition yet in playoffs, and I think he looked pretty bad.
Mark, you just gonna let this
Summit
man
was
say that?
sick as well.
Oh, Summit was sick, you're saying, Treatz?
Yeah, he was sick in their series against GG. That's what he tweeted as well.
See, Travis?
I was gonna say, Mark, you just gonna let Fist talk about you that way, as if you're not even here, just like slam you,
Why do you think I'm Summit? I'm so confused.
I thought you were Fist. I thought Fist was saying, I don't know what Mark was saying. Didn't you say, Fist, that you were not sure why Mark was saying he was player of the series?
He said that Summit was like one of the better players of the series in the TLGG.
Yeah, in the this or that, Mark said that Summit was the MVP for Liquid for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I remember Treatz said first that he thought Pioshik was. Treatz, I agree with you. I think Pioshik has been there.
That's what I'm saying, Mark.
Okay. Yeah, I don't agree. I think Summit's been really, really good. I think he's cleaned up a lot of the biggest problems that he had before. The Ornn game was bad, and I won't defend that one, but that's like the one game you can actually point to in recent memory, in recent series, that he's gotten turbo dumped. Especially in like late game, it hasn't happened very much at all, which is like the big problem that he always had. Was not that he couldn't do well in lane and destroy people like Revenge. It was that even if he did that, he would throw. And even in that NRG series, while he didn't like dominate Dokla hard enough to 1v9, like who was the problem in that series, man? Let's be honest. Say his name. Say it, Fist. Starts with an A, ends with an A. There's one letter in between.
I'm willing to give him a little bit more of a break.
I'm not saying the APA is a bad player. I'm saying that series, they lost because of APA.
That's valid.
Not Summit.
I mean, Fist, I would just like to ask you then, like, who would you rather like put in international competition, like Licorice or Summit, if they're just laning against an Asian top laner?
I mean, I think it comes down to philosophy, probably. I think you can make an argument for either one. I would rather have Licorice because I think Licorice is better at being a team player. He's better at team fights, and he's better playing weak side. Whereas I think Summit is very much more in that play style of I'm going to take over. And I think that's what scares me, is that in international play, I don't think that philosophy is going to go well against other laners who are very talented. I mean, what happens when he faces Ben or Zeus or, I mean, like, I don't know how that's going to go. And I think Licorice can play smart and play safer, and I don't think Summit will do that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we saw Licorice recently and actually played really well against Asian competition. I think it's just a thing of like, Summit, I feel like is not really overrated. I feel like the things that he's really good at, he is very good at. Like his lane and his pressure in the game in general is very high. He does have very clear weaknesses, which probably will get exposed more in international competition. But I feel like the same could be said for basically every NA top laner. Same for Fudge, you know.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. Is like I'm not of the opinion that he's the best player in the world or even in NA, but I think to the point about why he's been so good in playoffs for me is that he's kept a lot of his strengths while not having the like inting the game away TP flanks that are terrible. Yeah, like the mega ints are mostly gone. And even in the series versus Golden Guardians, I think Licorice got the better of him overall, but it was with a lot of resources. In game 1 and game 2, they chain ganked his Fiora, and I think they killed him once after in like 4 attempts. His Aatrox died a couple more times, but then he stabilized from there and was actually able to like, not lose the game despite the fact that he got put behind early on, and they threw a lot of bans his way, if I remember, in that game. Maybe I'm trolling. Maybe they didn't ban a ton of stuff against it. I don't remember. But either way, he played the Aatrox into the Rumble. They left the Rumble up, and he kind of dealt with it. So I don't know. I think he's been good. I think he's been really good for them. I think the whole team is really well balanced right now, or like multiple people are stepping up. I think we said that in that slide too. Is like a lot of them are playing pretty well. So I don't think he's like carrying this team. The rest of them are a joke, kind of like how people talk about EG or anything like that, to be fair.
Well, I don't know if Treatz, if you feel like there's anything you want to add in here to the mark.
I think in general, I understand your take, Fist. I wouldn't say that he's been like liability or he wouldn't do against international competition. I think that I would say him and Summit have been the top 2 performers of TL so far in the playoffs, and I kind of expect that to remain true for the rest of the playoffs. And I do think that if he laned against Asian top laners, his strengths would not be as strong as they are against any top laners, obviously. But so is the case for every player that goes from LCS to international.
Exactly, like one top has looked serviceable against LPL and LCK tops. And that was Licorice at last MSI. Like Fudge has struggled historically.
Fudge Dokla LCS versus MSI.
Yeah, exactly. Dokla is probably going to struggle quite a bit. It's always going to be a struggle.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks so much.
Fair enough impact, but
Fist, anything you want to shout out before we go to the next caller?
Shout out Alienware and shout out Travis becoming an MTG fan. That's awesome. We in the Magic community love having you, and keep it up.
Thanks. Hang out on the Magic channel on my Discord. I'm trying to keep that going. Catch you later.
Thanks.
Mark, are we looking for more folks for the waiting room? Because I know we got a decent amount, and we only got 2 people. I don't know if people left, which happens sometimes.
We can try and pull one more if you find one that
Lots
you like.
more toxic people. I was promised there would be a lot of flame towards me. Where is it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is people will shit talk you constantly. And then you say, like, come on Hotline League and talk to me about it. And they're like, no, I'm not going to do that. And so, and that's one of my favorite things about the show is that it just demonstrates how cowardly people are.
It's the digital equivalent of like, yeah, you wouldn't say that to my face on the streets, bro. I'll fuck you up. And then they actually won't show up. Yeah, but Travis, you can look at the next person or try and find another person.
I'll find something. Yep. All right, looking for that. So if you are trying to get in on the show, feel free to drop something into the subtopics or pleb topics channel right now, because I'm gonna keep an eye out for folks. Thank you to Badger Yar for the 25 months and the Paradox 63 for the Prime. Really appreciate it. Let's see. I see a take about how player turnover is so high, and my God, we've talked about that so much on the show, and it's always been me pushing it, so it's not even...
I saw that take, and I was like, is this just Travis in Discord on alt account?
Yeah.
I meant to take that one. I pulled someone else who actually has a conversation between TL and APA.
Okay.
Or TL and NRG, excuse me. So
gotcha.
That'll be a good one.
All right, caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is Ricky, and I'm calling from sunny Santa Monica.
Ricky from Santa Monica, what do you want to talk about in the show?
I wanted to talk about the take that NA 4th seed, GG, is better than every possible EU 4th seed except G2 if by some miracle they, by some disaster that they become 4th.
So who do you consider to be possible EU 4th seeds?
SK if they overperform, Mad Lions because it's funny, and maybe Fnatic if they don't perform that well, if they have an off day.
All right. Why do you feel this way? I guess we should maybe say.
I feel this way because I am very confident in GG. I think that they are a extremely solid team, and for whatever reason, they had bad nerves. They had stage fright, something. I don't know. They can't exactly have stage fright. They've been on stage before, but something happened that day for them to not perform as well against TL as they usually do. Something, maybe the Spirit of Tactical took over Gory and made him jump in with Malphite ults on Treatz. I don't know exactly, but he did that, and it really costed them the game. But I think an actual spot for Worlds, when they're playing against EU 4th seed, I think they can really beat them. Any of those teams that I said. Fnatic would be more difficult, but Mad Lions I think would be pretty easy. SK, if they overperform, will be pretty easy as well. The other main reason is because I think the format of LEC hurts them as well. Like, the LEC format is not helping them in that regard, considering that, they have, I think, a week after the 4th seed is determined to actually get to NA or Korea, wherever the match is taking place, and then play against each other.
I will say, don't listen to anything too much about what you heard about the 4th place match quite yet.
Okay. But other than that, I do think GG is genuinely better than SK, genuinely better than Mad Lions, and better than a underperforming Fnatic.
So, one, I have no idea what Mark is referencing, but I'm very curious, and I mean,
it's definitely happening. People are like, what? Is it not happening? Of course it's happening. They're going to play. He said a couple specific things, and I said, well, because he's making assumptions about, EU being disadvantaged because they have to go straight through this and straight through that,
Or NA having an extra week in Korea or something like that.
Well, there's a lot of things that could happen. We finished 4 weeks earlier, right? Where do you think all the NA fucking teams are going?
Korea.
They're going to Korea. Who's left to scrim if the match plays in NA? Maybe it's actually not better for NA if it's playing in NA. Who's left? You're playing disguised out of the courtesy of their hearts. Their season's done too. You're gonna get the fucking random team together of people
McDonald's.
basically playing tryouts. Yeah, the McDonald's team. So I'm just saying, until it's announced, don't make any assumptions about who it favors. Because you don't know yet.
Yeah, I think that is a fair point. So, damn, before you went off on that tangent, I had something really good. Oh, Golden Guardians. Do you not feel, before we get to sort of the EU side of this equation, do you not feel like Golden Guardians is kind of collapsing here at the finish line? They lost to Cloud9. Okay, that was expected. In that final week. Then you have them lose to NRG, which I think was an upset. Then, they beat Dig. But then they lose to TL. Do you not feel like Golden Guardians is on a bit of a downturn?
I think they're stumbling. I don't think they're collapsing.
Okay.
I think they can catch themselves, honestly. I believe in players like Licorice, players like Stixay, players like Gory, who've been so good throughout the season to keep that, even if they stumbled at the final hurdle before the 4th place match.
All right. Well, so you just have faith in the players to pick it back up.
And of course I have faith.
The problem is for me that they lost the series to TL with Gory being up 30 CS at 15 every game. The games were going according to plan, and they kind of failed to beat themselves in a way, in my opinion. And I failed to see how that would translate over, I guess, to them winning the last Worlds spot.
He also struggled against Palafox too. Palafox did pretty well in the Gory. Gory didn't have the best series in the upper bracket, and he's he's hate to say it, hasn't made international competition before, despite being on when he was in the PCS, a very good team that should have gone. Might be a bit of a choker. Might have some choking problems.
So let's talk about the EU side of the equation then. Treatz, you are from Europe. What do you make of Europe's chances against the LCS in that match, especially given the teams that our caller mentioned?
I mean, the thing is that we haven't seen LEC for a little while now. They've been on a random break. So when they come back, which is next week, I think they start again, will be easier to tell. I think for now, I think you could say the level is comparable, at least. I don't think that one region is necessarily super much better than the other. I would think that Fnatic would be better than GG in my head, but they kind of choked already in playoffs, so kind of hard to say. But I think G2, you could say, is the only team that's like one clear step above the rest.
Yeah, do you feel like there's been a lot of people down on EU this season? Do you think that that's fair? Do you share that sentiment?
I would definitely say that it's gone down a bit. I feel like the problem is that the teams that you expected to perform, like Mad Lions, kind of underperformed heavily, and then like you just have XL randomly in top 2. So I would definitely say that EU was underperforming, so to say, and a lot of teams didn't like meet their expectations.
So when our caller is up on Golden Guardians, confident they can beat EU, but it sounds like you think it's more of a coin flip.
I would
At
say
least
like
right now.
right now in this moment, if like say GG played Fnatic, I would honestly, if I had to like put odds on the game, I'd put 50-50.
Okay. All right.
Wow, what a coward. 50-50. Trying to keep
I
his
would give
EU
the edge to
options.
North America.
EU options open for next year. I get it, Treatz. I get it. It's obviously North America
Yeah.
is the better.
He's like,
region.
all
It's-
teams are great at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
I just think all of them could
players-
use.
Teams are great, especially if they're looking for a new support.
Yeah, they're just
I would
all
love to
weak
play
in
with any
support
of those
position.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. No AD carry is better than the other AD carry. No, let me tell you, Stixay will crush these idiots. All right, Gory this, Gory that. What about the rest? Licorice versus the tops in EU. EU tops are trash.
If Gory plays like that versus like Humanoid, yeah.
Not worried about it.
Not a problem.
Not worried about it because Licorice is still up in the top
The
lane.
GOAT,
Bro,
yeah.
didn't Adam run Europe for half the year?
Yeah,
He
that
also
was
had-
quite the problem. Oh, that was an issue indeed. But now it's
Yeah.
been fixed.
1647. Does anyone remember that with Mad Lions? I don't know, man. You got Broken Blade, okay, and then you got Odo Omne, and I think those are the only two tops in the LEC. I don't know if there's even anyone else in the LEC playing top right now.
Oscarinin, the GOAT.
Oscar and yeah, true. Chasey is. Do people still think Chasey's great? I remember he did well for a weekend.
I mean, I think after MSI, people are a bit down on Mad Lions, I would say.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, Licorice is gonna have a cakewalk in the top lane. He's gonna crush basically everyone except
I mean,
maybe
if there's a
Odo.
time to do it, it's now, I think. At least that's that sentiment I agree with.
Mark,
Yeah, I mean, I hope no one clips this. I hope this doesn't rear its head later when Golden Guardians loses.
Oh, it definitely will.
If
It
Adam
definitely
somehow
will.
shows up and shits on Licorice, I'll be the
That would
laughing
be
stock. But yeah, actually, I feel pretty good. I feel like Europe's been dodging NA at international competition for a while now, and then they keep like trying to pretend that they have better runs than us, and it hasn't really been true for a long time now. It's like, okay, G2 destroyed EG, fair enough, but then Worlds, and then MSI this year,
I mean, I am pretty worried about. Like, it's funny because I think there was a Reddit thread that was like, oh, NA can go boot camp and EU can't and all that stuff. But I am kind of worried about a world where EU is coming off hot from competition. And, oh, yeah, the Reddit thread. The LCS 4th seed now likely has up to 1 month to boot camp in Korea before the qualifier match versus LEC 4th seed. This is an absolute massive advantage, and LEC can only blame their own scheduling for it. But, like...
No, that's not true, though. I don't think that's a massive advantage. I feel like, first of all, you're not going to go there and scrim for 1 month straight every single day and not get burnt out. Like, that's just not going to happen. So that just won't happen. They'll probably have like a 1.5, 2 week break and then go. And second of all, the competition they would scrim would probably be of equal or lower quality than the LEC scrims. Because scrimming towards the finals, they have a lot of opponents they would like to scrim them. And obviously the teams that leave playoffs, they will still go to Worlds from EU, so if you're say G2, you can still scrim Fnatic if they're third seed or something like this, if they get knocked out of playoffs. So I think, yeah.
Do we even know that Golden Guardians is going to Korea before?
No, that's the other thing I was gonna say is like you
they
don't
can go
know
to anywhere.
Yeah, like they might not go to Korea because it's so early still before like Worlds doesn't start for another like month and a half. So like, are the other teams?
Yeah, let's just say theoretically that it's in North America. It's really awkward to like fly to Korea, boot camp there, and then come back to LA.
So you can be jet lagged for your match.
Yeah, exactly, and then go back to Korea too afterwards. Like it's weird. So, I am.
Najin says we are.
Oh, from
Anything else?
Tracy
Anything else
from
you wanna
Golden
say?
Guardian says we are. So they are
Anything
going to
else, though?
Korea. 80 other details from Golden
other
Guardians in
details?
the chat. Nobody to scrim, says Tracy. Okay.
Yep, well, that's what I was saying, and for why it wouldn't be an advantage necessarily if you just stayed in North America, but also, well, I don't know. Maybe the Reddit thread's right. Maybe it's not. Maybe they're making a big hullabaloo about nothing, which Reddit has never done before.
Mark, what do you...
Maybe Riot should have announced this before. I don't know. There's a lot of things.
I do want to use this as a bit of the sort of like what is going on with Golden Guardians thing. Treatz kind of talked about it. What do you think, Mark? What do you make of Golden Guardians in playoffs?
Just sad, man. I thought that they were legit. I bought into the Golden Guardians hype train. I had my ticket. I was ready to get on the Hindenburg, and then it blew up. I think Gory had a massive step down. I thought he was actually pretty close to JoJo overall. Like I think JoJo had to do more for his team, and by like situation looked a lot better. But I thought Gory had a really, really good summer split. And so to see him have kind of some bad performances in playoffs and in both the losses was depressing. I think River's been good, but not as good as when people were like, he's borderline MVP. Blabber first team. Who the fuck is Blabber? And I know you shouldn't use postseason to like argue regular season, but I do think that is a take that not held up very well, and one that I was never personally bought in on. I think Stixay, Huki, and Licorice have mostly been the same, but I think their mid jungle has been a bit disappointing compared to the regular season.
Yeah. Oh no! Somebody in chat said Blabber's so overrated, it's crazy. We're gonna get another 5-minute Mark rant defending Blabber.
Well, let's ask Treatz. Is Blabber good? Is he overrated?
Blabber is definitely good. I mean, I think him and River are like a clear step above everyone else, at least for the season and the last. I think River has been like kind of on a downwards trajectory, but not like a lot. I think he's still very solid. But Blabber is definitely the NA GOAT.
Yeah.
I just don't get it, man. They said that Golden Guardians had better teammates too, and River's better than Blabber, and Blabber's overrated. Yet somehow one of them is 6-0 through playoffs and waiting in finals, and one of the teams is fourth. I just don't.
Blabber has no pentakills.
It's so hard being River. You have to
right.
deal with all these other players. You don't just have like fucking the rest of Cloud9 to carry you.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah, you're right.
caller. What do you want to shout out here at the end?
I want to shout out my homie Greg, my homie Anna, and my homie Maggie. I got them into the LCS, taking the bus down to the LCS arena to watch the matches last spring, and they've been enjoying it a lot. So, really
Do they watch the show?
Yeah, they do not watch the show. I'm trying to get them on this show.
All right.
Trying to get them to watch this.
Well, they're not LCS fans until they're watching this show, so you can tell them they're fake.
Understandable. Yeah,
Thank
I'll
you.
do that to their faces.
To their faces, exactly.
Yeah,
That's the
of
best way to
course.
do it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, we'll catch you later.
Definitely, thank you.
All right. We are on to the next caller. Thank you to the Paradox 63 and so many things for the subs. Next caller is here. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Legitor. I'm calling from Minnesota.
What's your name?
Legitor.
Oh, nice to meet you. And what do you want
I've
to talk
been on
about?
the show before. I was actually here like last November, but
Well, listen, it's been almost a year. What do you want to talk about on the show?
okay. My take is that C9 is about to get their third LCS Championship in a row, and Berserker not getting a unanimous MVP is ridiculous. Like, I think Berserker's putting on like Rock Lee versus Gara level performances every game. He has a Menace running it down in the mid lane, and Fudge is having kind of a scuff split as well, I think. and I think he's head and shoulders above like every other ADC in the league right now.
So
like,
this is the stupidest thing of anything you've said to debate, especially given that Travis and Treatz don't watch anime. But how Rock Lee versus Gara levels? If you're saying he's Rock Lee, then you're saying he's gonna lose the fight, and he's not that talented.
Okay,
But then if
nobody
he's Gara, he's just like
Spoilers.
OP as fuck and wins.
He's gone Super Saiyan. Yes, he has gone Super Saiyan.
Okay, my point is nobody cares about the ending of the fight. They only care when Rock Lee takes off his weights and he.
Okay.
Oh, I did see that on TikTok where like the weights fall off and it goes like poof, and everybody's like, "Oh my god."
That's
That
how
the
I
most
was
goofy
viewing
thing
it.
I've heard, Travis.
That's how I was viewing every game in that EG series. It was so disgusting. Berserker's had a 1v9 like I think every game, and he's probably. I want to say his Ashe is the only Ashe that looks like it does damage. That's
That's
what
a
I
fact,
see.
actually.
Plus, I think I'd say the only ADC in the league that compares to Berserker right now is Yon, and that's only on Kaisa. Otherwise,
I feel like when I talked to
Berserker's-
Berserker in an interview earlier, like towards the end of the split, Berserker was kind of down on himself. Like he was confident that he was the best ADC, but I feel like he thought he was like, "Oh, ADC pool is low, and so I'm still the best, but that's only because the pool is low right now." So it's interesting to hear you defend him when even he was his own critic. You know?
I think he's. I mean, I think the only bad game I saw from him this split was against Team Liquid. I think
He went 1-4 against us as well.
Oh, I mean, sure, yep. Tactical going in.
He said only one that he watched. He said the only one I
it's the
saw.
only-
You think
it's
this
the-
man's
it's the only
watching
one I
Immortals
remember.
games? Treats, okay.
That's probably true, yeah.
It's the only one I remember, just because the Team Liquid game, the ball lane got blown up like 2 minutes in the game, and it was pretty much just lost from there. I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Tactical, but yeah.
So, caller has this opinion, and I feel like Berserker maybe doesn't have that opinion, but Mark, you have been such a big Blabber defender, and here this person is saying Blabber doesn't even deserve MVP. He's not even the best player on Cloud9. It's Berserker in the ADC position. How mad are you right now? How fucking pissed off are you just inside right now?
Not at all. I like both of them a lot, and I think you can make the case that Berserker is the best individual player in the league.
Dude, look at Mark fuming right now. It takes everything he has to stay cool. The biggest Blabber fan on the planet is just holding it all in right now. Treats, we're going to make you talk about more ADCs on this episode because that's why you're here,
It's
apparently.
the ADC episode with your favorite ADC, Treatz.
Yeah.
I've played
No one
Sunlight
talks about
LCS.
supports. Has anyone mentioned Sven, Huhi,
No, supports are useless.
Ignar? Who the fuck are these guys? It's only
It's
the AD
only
carries.
double with tactical, Berserker, Yon, 6A.
FBI.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. Yeah. I mean, I think Berserker is definitely. Maybe he doesn't think he's like one step above everyone else, but he definitely is one step above everyone else. I think that's clear to everyone watching and when they play against him as well.
So you think Berserker... Wait, you say everybody else, you mean in the league or you mean other ADCs? Because he did think he was the best ADC.
I mean, he's definitely a top 2 player in the league, I think, like total. When you go into the MVP discussions, obviously, like, is it most valuable or is it best? For me, I would put like Jojo Pion as way more valuable than Berserker, but Berserker's team is better, obviously. So I think if you put as like the best carry in the league / the best player in the league, he's definitely top 2.
I think when I mentioned this a little bit in the this or that, but I didn't get into that much. When we had Sven on the dive last split, he said, we asked him, like, does it seem wrong that the MVP is somewhat influenced by meta? You know, it's like hard to win MVP in an enchanter meta. You know, like it's hard to win MVP anyways, but like it's just literally impossible in an enchanter meta.
Yeah.
It's true. Like, you know, if it's utility AD carry or something, it can be hard, you know, or if it
has to be Rakan Alistar meta.
Yeah, exactly. And so he was saying, no, like you play to the meta and you vote based off the meta as well. And like, so in that sense, I don't think AD carries were like that insane for some of the regular season. There's a period of time where like AD champions felt broken, but I don't think like the role did, you know, when everyone was playing just AD carries all over the place in every role. Or was that in spring actually?
Oh, that was
actually,
I think Was that in spring or last summer? I can't remember.
It all
Yeah.
blurs together when you're old.
I think it was spring.
Yeah.
That was
so
when T1 Carrier was
Yeah, when Carrier was playing Caitlyn Kalista every game.
Oh yeah. So it was spring. So yeah, I don't think AD carries have been that like insanely busted. It's just like it was a very boring meta where it's like you play Aphelios, first pick, and Lucian for a lot of it. Or was that? God, the splits are blending together in my head now. But either way, point being, I don't think that this was the flashiest AD carry meta, and that is probably why he's not the MVP.
I agree. I mean, Kai'Sa's the only really flashy AD carry that's being played right now, I think. The old Zeri build that can kind of 1v5 was, I think, as close as you got to like the wow, he's insane and just gets buffed by Lulu and runs around and kills everyone by himself. But if you're playing like Xayah and you're playing Aphelios and stuff like that, it's kind of like a late game 1v9. But I think you can still see it when he plays stuff like the Ashe, and it looks like a different champ when Berserker's playing Ashe too when everyone else is playing Ashe. And the caller, you said like Jon in the same conversation as Berserker. I think that's disrespectful to Berserker.
No, okay.
Wow.
The reason why I'm saying this is strictly for Kai'Sa, and it's just because I think Jan and Berserker are the only ones that have the balls to jump in the backline on Kai'Sa.
Listen, I really like Jan. I do. Don't get me wrong, but like he was just following up on APA pressing R on one of two carries. You know, like either they jumped on the Ezreal or they jumped on the Tristana, and he just pressed RQ and that person died. And like, don't get me wrong, I like Jan a lot. That was not like some insano 1v9 Kai'Sa performance.
Oh yeah, I don't have beef against Jan, but it's just true. Yeah, like he's playing good, but he's not like Berserker level popping off like finding stuff.
Kev's busted, so he gets to do that. But I mean, if we're talking about ADCs in the league playing Kai'Sa, I don't think there's any ADC that compares. Like, I think this is a wild take to go on top of mine already, but I don't even think Stixxay is that good either. I'm
all right. It's time. We got to move on. Thank you for the call. Anything you want to shout out?
This is the season of frauds. I'm gonna end off on that. The season of frauds.
Everyone's
GG's
trash.
fraud. EG's frauds.
FlyQuest frauds.
Anything?
That's a whole other tangent I could go on.
Anything you want to shout out?
Let's see.
Immortals maybe.
Okay. All right. Thanks for calling.
I will shout out you, Treatz, because you're the one that made Tactical look good. I'm gonna say that.
Get it.
Yep.
Tactical a
Yeah,
fraud.
actually made him look like a top 5 ADC to split.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. We'll catch you later.
All right.
All right, Mark, you want to grab the next caller? What are you intently staring at in the corner of your screen?
Just looking at my main monitor.
You seemed intent on something. Sean Atonin, thank you for gifting a sub to League of Emily, and Shimmy Shuffle, thank you for the prime. We got Murderino here. Murderino, where are you calling from?
Yeah, calling from Ontario, Canada.
Ontario, Canada. And what do you want to talk about on the show?
Yeah, my take was that TL has proven that they are the summer team that they promised. And now that they figured out how to apply APA's champion pool, they'll stomp energy and then take back the trophy from C9.
Oh, you think? Oh, wow. Okay, so you think they're winning?
Took a quick one.
Both matches this weekend.
Wow, yeah, I thought this was just an NRG conversation, but okay.
All right, so they proved the Team Liquid dream correct, which is that they are a summer team.
I can elaborate.
Yes,
if it
please.
Makes a little more sense. Yeah. So if you look at the series that they played against NRG, they didn't know how to face Palafox. So they thought get Pyosik on a support jungler and try and just camp mid lane, same kind of thing as how you'd play against like JoJo, right? And get mid lane on a carry. And you end up trying to first time Jace against someone like Palafox, and it's just not going to work. And then you aren't actually having Pyosik live up to the world champion jungler he is. So now that they've sorted out how to approach the game, which you can see against Golden Guardians by taking in Viego and putting APA on a more utility mid, so Ahri, Nico, that kind of thing. he can still play the Treatz because he has that kind of the reps on it. But otherwise, right, you're able to better enable Piosik to carry the game, put strong pressure on top and bottom as well, with Summit and the good duo at the bot. And you can beat NRG, and then we've shown this split already. They can beat C9.
All right.
So, seems easy.
Treatz, what do you make of it? Is Team Liquid lifting the trophy this Sunday?
I would definitely put a low chance on it. As I said when I was on broadcast as well, I feel like TL thinks they've figured out what they should do, but I just think it's wrong, or I don't think it'll work against better opponents. I think if TL and GG played like 20 games of the same comp that they had over and over, that GG would win a vast majority of those. But I do think that TL on the day just out-executed them in the late game.
So even TL frauds.
I definitely don't think they're frauds, but I think their meta is actually kind of strange, I would say. They're very Korean in the way that they think, but I don't think they're playing up to the level they need to, especially in the early game, to make it work. Against a team like NRG, I think it can definitely work. I can see them going towards the finals against C9. But I think that C9 is a team that never gets like lane checked on any lane, and mid game I think C9 is just better. So could work against NRG. I think they can make it to the finals, but there's no way if they draft the same way they did against GG that they'll win against C9.
All right.
I think I kind of agree. NRG make it really hard to predict for me. I generally like Team Liquid. I'm happy with like the fact that they seem to have figured their shit out and are the kind of summer team that was promised, like you're saying, Caller. But they're not beating Cloud9. I think Cloud9 wins again 3-0. Unfortunately, maybe a 3-1 against either of these teams, but I don't think they can bring it. Against NRG, though, I can't tell how much is NRG not being as good as I maybe thought they were after being Golden Guardians, because now Golden Guardians has also lost to Team Liquid, versus like we just played Cloud9 and Cloud9 just beats everyone very handily. I can't tell if NRG, like they should have beaten Cloud9. The FBI had that like unfortunate thing at the turret, so I don't know. I am worried about getting too hyped on TL and undervaluing NRG just based off the fact that one team won some best of fives this weekend and one team lost some best of fives this weekend, and kind of ignore who they're playing against.
Dude, as the resident NRG hater that I've been cast into, Team Liquid's definitely beating NRG. We're going to have everybody go. Look, here's what I'm saying, everybody. Go to the finals. It's going to be hype. Go Saturday and Sunday. Make dinner reservations because we're getting 2 3-0s. All right. And you want to go out with the friends, the crew.
Get a movie
afterwards.
at 7 o'clock or whatever, 8 o'clock. You're gonna need some more entertainment tonight because you're not getting it at the LCS finals. Let me tell you.
Go play Commander. It's gonna be a 3-0 3-0. That's my prediction. But I still think it's gonna be hype. You should come out.
Someone in chat, some people in chat are like, but guys, Team Liquid beat C9 2-0, and it's like, so did NRG. Did not seem to matter very much in that series.
That's regular season as well. I mean, yeah.
Whoa, Treatz, are you going to tell me that people play differently in regular season than postseason?
Definitely a bit.
Dude,
I think
if Immortals was in playoffs, they'd be the best team in the league.
I mean, it would go finals for sure, yeah. Just regular season gap.
And even they'd get 3-0'd by C9, all right? That's just how good C9 is.
That's the script.
That's actually why Treatz is so good in Europe, is their formats are better.
True.
And he comes to NA, he's like, what is this dog shit double round robin best of one? You go. Can't win.
Yeah. I don't know, Murderino. I've been, I mean, it's funny because I'm doubting NRG, but I've also been doubting Team Liquid. Like it feels so strange to me, the turnaround that this team made, and I still feel like it's kind of shaky. I was really surprised by the Golden Guardians match. And so I'm a little worried for, like, I will say, obviously we're, 2 months out because of the biggest gap ever, but I'm a little worried for North America at Worlds this year. And I know it's like, haha, North America sucks at Worlds. Well, of course you're going to be worried for them, but I just am like, my confidence levels, which are never usually high, went down a lot over the last couple of weeks, I feel like, with certain things going the way that they did. So, I don't know. hopefully I'm wrong and Team Liquid's killer and they'll crush C9 and we'll be like, oh my god, this team finally did it. They worked harder than everybody else and it finally worked out for them in the last 2% of the season, but we'll find out how it goes. Thank you so much, Murderino, for the call. Anything you want to say before we go on to our last caller?
I'll just point out TL 2 world champs, C9 0 world champs, Piosik 1 LCS pentakill, Blobber 0 LCS pentakills, and shout out the Team Liquid Discord and Liquid Plus.
Thank you very much for the shout outs. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks so much.
All right. Somehow, somebody has renamed themselves I Love TGI Sponsors. They've been following since May of 2023. Who are you? And they gifted 10 subs. I really appreciate that. And then Ixbix gifted 20 subs. So during that call, we got 30 subs. Very, very appreciated. Thank you so much. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is RubySea, and I'm calling from Salt Lake City, Utah.
RubySea from Salt Lake City. What do you want to talk about on the show?
I think that there should be at least 3 teams leaving the LCS at the end of the season.
So when you say there should be 3 teams leaving the LCS, do you mean like I'm
At
predicting
least,
these 3 teams are likely to, or are you saying
Or
like
you're wishing
3 teams deserve to exit the league?
Wishing I don't have a job next year. It's okay.
So I guess it's a little column A, little column B. So I think there will be at least 2 that I will predict to leave just based on the already announcements. But I think there's 3 that deserve to leave, and you might even be able to convince me of a 4th one.
I might be able to convince you. I'm not going to try to convince
Or
you.
like the world might be able to convince me. So my 3 that I have on there is obviously
He's asking
TSM.
for anyone to say another name.
Just drop
Give
them
me
off.
a name, I'll fucking get him out of the league.
Yeah. So my 3 that are right off the top of my head is TSM, obviously Immortals. They're the only ones that have managed to be bad enough to qualify for Riot to be eligible to kick them out, even though I don't think Riot will. And then EG, with it seeming like all the rumors and the way everyone's talking about them, they're already a done deal and gone. So just looking at those 3 teams, and then finally kind of Dignitas. And I was trying to like look at like their social media presence, their the records, all this stuff, and it's like EG's at least got the record behind them, but I look at their social medias, like their TikTok, everything like that. Like my TikTok has higher view posts than what their League of Legends content does. Like their Valorant content seems to do okay, but their League of Legends content goes.
This is all just a promotion for your TikTok, I'm realizing.
No, yeah, of course. But I'm like looking at it, and it's like there are very few positives to these teams at the moment because it seems like they've all kind of the management at Lee's side has given up. Treatz, I appreciate you, but it doesn't seem like you're getting the best support with the team you're on, and it's true like for all these 3 teams. So yeah.
Can you get a little closer to your mic? You're also a little quiet.
Yeah, is that better?
Oh, that's so much better. Okay. So, a couple questions here. So, I understand why you think TSM is leaving. Why do you think Immortals is leaving?
I would just say because of the way that they seem like they have not funded their team. They don't have a social media presence. They don't seem to like have a ton of sponsors. I just don't know how long they can survive the esports winter. And so it's like, I'm looking at it from like that perspective of like, does their business model continue to make sense for, let's say, the next year or something like that? And I think this is one of the last exit times they might have left before, things like you worry about them not being able to pay for their players and things like that.
Well, they're funded by a lot of rich people. So in one sense, like there's no reason why, like, it's hard to hear, well, their costs are really low. I don't know how long they can deal with esports winter, because like theoretically that should make them more likely to be able to deal with esports winter because they're paying Treatz in pennies, according to you. And
I didn't.
Mark.
Oh, I was going to say something else unrelated.
Oh no, that's fine. On the TSM side, that makes a lot of sense to me. The EG side is like this weird thing where I know a bunch of people in the chat are very confused about this. So my understanding is that on one of the shows that he's on, Degon said that there's a team that has sold, and then everybody, and I think he said something about, I'm paraphrasing because I saw this people talking about this, that it's a team that they wanted to sell, or that Degon would be happy about selling, and then everybody looked at Andrew Barton's tweet, who's the GM of EG, and he said, like, no matter what happens, this is the way it went down. I'm proud of our season or something like that. And they're like, it's fucking EG, they're out. What I can hear is that what I can say is that there's some conversation around, like, maybe like all the rumors, and this is not a report, but it's just like, I'm just going to try to clarify this because I'm kind of annoyed with, like, people showing up in my chat and being like, yo, did you hear EG selling and all this stuff? What the rumors swirling around, if you talk to a lot of people, is like Peak Six, who's like the majority owner or a big owner, was one of the big owners that came in on that team when they bought out the players, is like potentially selling some of their shares or maybe all their shares to one of the other groups that are like owning EG. So everything I've heard, and like I don't mean to like stomp on anybody else who's been talking about this, and I don't know all the different personalities and folks that have talked about this. So I'm not trying to say anyone's wrong or anything like that. All I'm just saying is I don't think that like it is everybody has just decided EG's out of the league next year. That might be true, but also like that is not, I've not just heard like, oh yeah, EG sold and now like, I don't know, FaZe is buying them or something like that. It's nothing I've heard is that clear. Yeah, Mr. Beast or Disguised Toast or something like that.
So what you're saying is Degon's a liar.
That is not what I'm saying. Explicitly not what I'm saying.
So what you're saying is Degon's got better sources and he knows what's up.
Maybe
you're in the dark.
Maybe I have only tried to say that like there's this kind of weird thing now where everybody's like, oh, it's EG, when like no one has actually even said EG is selling. So like I just feel like
you're helping out.
We should end the sort of weird. I'm trying to end this weird thing where everybody has just universally decided EG is selling and like expects everyone to like talk as though that's happening whenever like no one has even said that yet.
You're doing what I was trying to do with the schedule thing regarding the 4th place match, where I said this public speculation is not worth it because Riot hasn't publicly announced anything yet, and like making a hullabaloo about something that you're not sure about that is not going to get changed based off the public. Like I think it's fine to make a hullabaloo about things that like are going to impact you and you have some semblance of control over. Fair enough, but like if it's something you don't have any control over, maybe just wait for the public thing to come out because it might mean whatever you're concerned about is not the case.
Right.
Similarly, it sounds like you're trying to say the same thing here, where like don't get your hopes up about EG just because you're connecting some dots because it might not be that.
Right.
And
yeah I think it's not exactly. So on that front, like it's not sure. Now I do think there's a very good chance that like maybe 2 or 3 teams. You could be right, caller. I think the challenge is I don't know who's buying an LCS team right now, and I don't know what the teams are willing to sell for versus what they're not. I don't know if there's going to be like a race to the bottom in terms of like it. I think there's a lot of obfuscation right now around what teams are selling because economically, if 8 teams are like, yeah, we're willing to sell our team or something, and they're all out in the market, you don't want the news to get out that 8 teams are trying to sell because from the team perspective, everyone's valuations just tank, and now LCS teams are just like, you have 80% of people in the market trying to sell, like these things now go to 0 or like very low, and it's like not good for anybody.
That's the perfect time to buy, though, Travis.
No, that is the perfect time to buy. I'm saying like the reason why everything is very vague and unclear right now is because no one who has an LCS team and or Riot or anybody who really wants this information out there, other than I guess TSM, who's just like, fuck it, YOLO, we're selling, peace out. So that is like the weirdness around all of this right now.
Let's create the team together.
I mean, people have always joked about the Reddit team funded by Reddit. I'm telling you, the Reddit dollar has never gone farther. It's
so
time.
True. So
How
true.
toxic would Reddit be after the Reddit team loses? Holy.
Dude, they consume themselves. They wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah.
They would be an unstoppable force, immovable object. They would just
At the end of the day, you just need to pick some rules at the very beginning, and it doesn't matter. It's like 50%. Whoever has the majority votes is starting. Are we benching this guy? Are we signing this guy? It doesn't matter. Twitch, Reddit plays LCS.
Yeah. So, okay. I know that I just kind of took over, but I don't know, Mark, if you want to chime in. I think Treatz will probably recuse himself because he's on one of the accused selling teams, but
I think all of Riot Games' current partners are the best
there
partners
it
that
is.
they ever
I
had.
fucking knew
Unless
it.
they leave and then a new partner joins, and then that would be the best partner Riot Games has ever had.
There it is.
I mean, I appreciate everything Immortals has done for me, so I really have nothing bad to say about Immortals, honestly.
What about the skill vampires that come into your room at night and take all your like NBA?
I mean,
Space Jam,
that's
Space Jam.
the McDonald's debuff. That's just like
Oh,
it just always happens.
It's the McDonald's employees.
I just
They
need more
sneak in
time to get used to the NA McDonald's
and
debuff.
They replace your skill with canola oil.
Exactly.
All right.
And
well,
high cholesterol, obviously.
Yes.
RubySea, if you want to, I know I kind of ran
High
over, but
fructose
is there
syrup.
anything you want to follow up on here before I give you your shout out?
No, I think I appreciate your insight on this. I think the thing that kind of led me to the EG conclusion was not just Degon's thing, it was Degon's thing plus the comment from Andrew Barton, which just felt very ominous. And, you know, it doesn't definitively say they're leaving the league, but it felt like, oh, that connected with this, which, you know, we may all be just drawing crazy conclusions, but it just was like, that doesn't sound promising.
No, I mean that's often how it goes, where like something gets out without a lot of information, then like Reddit sleuths go look at like Twitter or, you know, a player looking sad. Like I saw a lot of people saying like, oh yeah, if you saw EG, they played worse because their team is selling and shit like that. Like people try to fill in the blank on a lot of stuff, and I get it, but I don't know. It's exhausting because then I'm in the situation where people show up in my chat and say like, "Did you see Degon said EG is selling?" And I'm like, "That's not even my understanding of what was said." So it's which is not what I'm accusing you of doing, but it's part of the reason why I wanted to talk.
There
about
are those
this.
people who are like, "Oh, let me just connect the dot and then insert this phrase from over here that I thought I heard into someone else's statement," and then it's like, "Okay, that's just straight misinformation."
That's like co-streamers are toxic.
Well, no, that one's
Exact
true.
same.
Okay, thank you, RubySea, for the call. Anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, let's shout out Travis Gafford's YouTube channel. You guys can become a member, and you get interviews the day that they're uploaded, and it's fantastic. And you also get to watch Hotline League, like literally like 11 or midnight Pacific time. It's great. So when you can't sleep, you can watch, you know, the replay of this if you missed any of it.
Thank you. Yeah, $2.99. Become a member of the YouTube channel. All right. Thank you for the call, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
All right, we have to wrap up because Mark has to go play Baldur's Gate 3. He's got to go fuck a bear. Have you fucked a bear yet, Mark?
No, I'm not playing with Halzen. I'm Shart's my girl. I'm all about Shart. I've kissed her. It's very wholesome.
Spoilers.
We're getting pretty serious right now, you know.
Spoilers. All right.
I don't think I'm missing anything actually. So.
All right, loser. How many digital girls do you get? None. That's right.
Perfect.
I'm sure Treatz could get many digital girls if he wanted to.
I doubt it. Not without playing Baldur's Gate.
All
I
right.
don't need Eddie.
All right. Mark, what do you want to shout out?
Shout out Baldur's Gate. If you haven't tried it yet, just try it. $60. It goes to a good studio. And worst case scenario, you don't play it like all the games in your Steam library anyways. How many of those have you really played, guys? Come on, be honest.
Are there any events that you're attending soon, Mark, that you think people should come out for or anything like that?
I would say LCS Finals, but that's in Jersey, so I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to. People shouldn't come to Jersey. I see. All right.
No, yeah, definitely come out to LCS Finals, everyone.
Treatz, what do you want to shout out? What do you want to plug before you leave this country?
Shout out my co-stream where all the negative stuff happens. You guys can join. I'll do it for the finals. If you guys want to come be negative with me.
If you're upset at life and you want to rage about something, join.
Yes, exactly. Other than that, shout out Tactical, the GOAT. Yeah, those are my 2 shoutouts.
Yeah. Well, for me, I will be at LCS Finals. Please say hello if you see me. If I'm running somewhere, I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I gotta run." But otherwise, I always get messages after these events where people are like, "Oh, I saw you, but I don't want to say hi." Just come up, say hi. It's fine. Also, if you want to play Magic the Gathering with me and other TGI viewers, please join the Magic the Gathering channel on Discord. Mark, I just had to listen to you talk about Baldur's Gate 3 for so long. You go have to. I'm trying to arrange a way to engage with our viewers.
It's been 2 weeks of it, and I probably won't talk about it next week.
I haven't. What do you want me? I can't. I'm not allowed to tell people that they can come play with me. What do you fucking want?
Yes.
All right, come to the Magic the Gathering channel on my Discord and tell me if you want to play with me this Friday. It's 7, probably in the evening. Other than that, see everybody at finals. We'll be back next week, but this will almost certainly, well, it definitely won't be because I won't be back in time. This will almost certainly be on Tuesday of next week, not Monday, because Mark and I will be traveling back. Probably won't be able to do the show on Monday. Definitely won't be able to do the show. So come on Tuesday, and we'll be there. All right, that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.